For those of you listening to this and not watching this today, there is now officially going to be video episodes for at least these solo episodes with just me available on my Patreon. So you can find Insights with Us on Patreon and watch me flail and fidget and rock back and forth as I talk to you all. It's gonna be great. You can actually see my facial expressions if you choose to. No pressure. You can just listen to my voice if that helps. So, welcome to today's episode of Insights with Us. I'm Anastasia, a licensed professional counselor, owner of Happy Mind Wellness Company, a Colorado-based therapy practice, and creator of this podcast. My goal is to use this platform to help others find their voice as we share our journeys and show support as we learn more about ourselves and life. Growth happens when we get uncomfortable, which happens when we sit with new ideas we haven't sat with before. I hope that we can work on this journey of personal growth and understanding together. As a disclaimer, there's swearing in this podcast, but sometimes we get caught up in the human experience. It happens, and sometimes we can talk about difficult or activating topics. So maybe put on some headphones if you need to, and remember that support exists for you if you want it. Today, I want to talk about acceptance. This is one of those words that we all have an idea of what it means, but we also often make assumptions about it or think we're accepting, but we're really not. And we don't accept everything in the same way. In theory, acceptance is great, and we all want to be able to use this tool, but in practice, it is challenging and honestly kind of a bitch. So let's get started, talk about the nuance of it all, and see if we can build some insight today. I'm going to start with a definition. Psychology Today defines acceptance as the acknowledgement and embracing of your full range of thoughts and emotions. So basically, letting your entire human experience exist. Often, we cannot accept all of our experience. We try to avoid, push away, or control the parts of our life that we don't like. This can increase our pain and suffering on top of what was already upsetting us. A common misconception is that if I accept this problem or this pain, that means I won't do anything to fix or change it. I'm going to become complacent. Complacency is not the same as acceptance. And while they could look similar on the surface, your values and intentions behind them are an important, though nuanced, difference. Complacency is saying, I can't do anything about it, so what's the point? I may as well not even try. Acceptance is saying, well, this is stressful and overwhelming, and, I might cry while I do this, but that's okay. There are parts of this that are within my control, and I'm going to continue trying. And yes, these are things that I have actually told myself in the past, so I'm taking this from experience. A common specific example that I experience often is with my body. And I opened up about this in my last episode with Faye. So if you haven't heard it yet, I recommend going back and listening to it. Faye's amazing. And the thing is, when I go through chronic stress, which I go through often, I gain weight because my body goes into survival mode. This is normal. This is a part of my rhythm, my pattern, but those judgmental thoughts can creep in. A pressure to control my eating, to go to the gym daily and starve myself so that I can look a certain way. And that is an old pattern. And now I can recognize that this is what my body looks like when it holds stress for me. My body isn't doing anything wrong, and I'm not doing anything wrong. I can catch these moments of avoidance and control, and I try to shift it into acceptance. This might look like me saying, I may not love where my body is right now, but I do love my body. And I can see all that it does for me. And I have so much appreciation for it. And I'm going to crush this outfit that my brain is like, oh, you're too fat to wear it. No, I'm not. It feels good. It looks great. I'm going to be confident in it. And I'm going to continue working on finding my balance with my body and how I show up for it. So it's not just, it is what it is. I guess I'm going to wear this outfit. It's, I'm going to wear this outfit and I'm going to let my body be what it is today. and I'm going to keep showing up and doing this work. It's both. One way to think about this difference is finding curiosity around what is within your control and what's out of it. In every scenario, there is something out of your control, even if you don't want it to be, and something that is. So, can you identify and work within the differences? Mel Robbins has a book on this that is going around right now. It's called Let Them Theory. And the language would be, can you let them? Like if it's out of your control, can you just let them? Can you let them gossip about you? Can you let your body look the way it looks right now? Can you let your partner show up in the way that they need to in this moment? And then also, can you let me? What can I navigate? How can I show up for that person, even if they're bugging me? How can I tell that person that maybe I can't handle what's going on in the current situation? What is within my control to navigate? Whatever is within your control, because this is the part that we're good at, it is easy to accept it because you're taking steps. You're working to figure out a solution. You are navigating it, and it probably feels really good, even if it's a little frustrating, because there's progress being made. Being in control feels great. We all love it. It helps our nervous systems feel like we have a say and that we know what's going to come next. But if it's out of your control, because this is the hard part, we also have to accept that that's there, that it's not something that we can change. Both parts need to exist. Again, this isn't complacency. It is a recognition that this is a part of our experience that is out of our hands, even if it's a shitty part, and to be patient while we move through it. Like if you've been stuck for months and nothing has changed and you want it to, there's something there that's out of your control, and maybe you need to be a little stuck while you figure out what is within your control. If you're doing everything in your control and you still feel stuck, well, that's where acceptance can come in of this is where I'm at right now. I'm going to keep trying, and eventually something will open up. It will. It always does. Because most of the human experience is temporary, even if we don't want it to be or don't believe it will be. What often happens is even though it's out of our control, we try to control it anyway. We don't like being out of control. And we all do this. My perfectionist self loves trying to do this. And examples of what this might look like. So, trying to tell others what their experience is. That's not really what happened. Or blaming others for your panic or your hurt. This is their fault. If they just did it my way, everything would be fine. It could be that existential dread that is becoming common in our present day experience. What's the point? It's already happened. I may as well give up. Or even getting so trapped in the anxiety that you've lost sight of where your power is. I can't do anything. Oh my God, I cannot do anything. How am I going to get through this? So, what do we actually have control over? Especially if it's something that feels so overwhelming or stressful or creates that panic or anger. The Buddha uses a metaphor of the second arrow of suffering. And he shared, quote, in life, we can't always control the first arrow. However, the second arrow is our reaction to the first. The second arrow is optional, end quote. In this metaphor, the first arrow is what is happening and what your initial reaction is to it. Maybe you said no to all your plans because you're really tired, but then you're at home alone and you're feeling lonely. We can't really control that. The second arrow is your reaction to what is happening. So you feel lonely, so maybe you start telling yourself, well, nobody loves you. You're going to be alone forever. You said no this time, so you're never going to be invited to anything ever again. That's the part that is within our control. The first arrow is unavoidable pain. The second arrow is avoidable suffering. The first step, as I have mentioned over and over again on this podcast is being able to notice that that first arrow even exists. Can you let it exist? What is it? What's going on? What did you get hit with? What's your gut reaction to it? The second step is letting the arrow exist. Feel the loneliness. Feel the pain. Let it exist, knowing it is a part of your human experience, even if you don't want it to be. And once you felt it, acknowledged it, and accepted the experience, only then can you begin to think about what comes next. What is within my control? What do I need? How does this change things? If you skip ahead, well, you might end up getting hit by that second arrow. You're trying to control it before you feel it. And that pause between the first arrow and the second arrow is where you want to slow down so that you can figure out how to show up. Another example of this is our present day historical events happening in the US. And I choose this example because when we are polarized, it is very hard to access acceptance. It doesn't matter which side you are polarized in this present day. You are struggling to accept what the other side believes, what's happening right now, how you feel about each other. We are forgetting that we are all human. And even though some of you, all of you might get angry at me for saying this, on both sides of this polarization, it goes deeper than that. Because we need to accept it. We are all human and we all have different opinions about what needs to happen right now. That's what it means to be human. You are completely an individual person with your own belief systems, but you also have the power to have your own belief systems. So what the people in charge decide to do is out of our control. This can bring up senses of fear, danger, rage. This is understandable. And there is a lot happening in our world right now. And I will be having someone coming on in my next episode to talk about this in more detail. So please stay tuned, follow me, make sure you listen to that episode. I think it's important. And what is hard is that, how do I say this? The current administration is forgetting that everyone is human, that everybody has a right to exist. And that is terrifying, especially if you're one of those people that feel like you're in danger. People are being hurt. The rest of the world, especially the modern democratic world, are losing trust in America because of it. It will take decades to undo this hurt of what has been caused by what is happening right now. But that doesn't mean it can never change. That doesn't mean that all hope is lost. And that doesn't mean that there isn't something that you can do. Those of us who aren't spinning in the panic of that second arrow are continuing to fight for our right to be human. Every single one of us, no matter what you believe. And again, it is okay to feel that fear, that rage, that sense of danger. But that second arrow can come quick and fast, and it might be hard to notice it. It is the suffering that comes on top of the reaction to what is happening in the present day and making it feel hopeless and impossible to move forward. It's thoughts like, what could this lead to? Are we fucked? Is the world over? Are we all going to die? I'm helpless. We're helpless. We're never going to be able to come back from this ever. All of this, that's the second arrow. That is the part that is avoidable if we choose. And it is our choice if we sit in that panic or not. On the other side, that second arrow is saying that, the other side are demons and evil and terrible. No one are demons. No one is terrible. We're all humans doing the best we can. And giving into that rhetoric is going to make you give into that second arrow. Slow down. Notice what reactions you're having and how you want to show up to it. We do not want to accept that which we do not like. I'm going to repeat that. We do not want to accept that which we do not like. That could be a group of people who seem different from us. That scares us. But it could also be someone who only seems to care about power and money, and they're willing to hurt others to stay on top. If we would do something differently, then it's hard to accept the person that's doing it the way that you don't like. If I want to choose humanity over power and money, if I want everyone to feel safe and loved, no matter what they look like, no matter what they believe in, and the people in power have different ideas and different values and different goals from me, then yeah, when they're going through with their plans, it's going to spark fear and upset. I'm going to feel pain, and I do often. I am deeply empathetic. I watch people in fear and I get angry because I want to do something about it. And unfortunately, I can't. I mean, I can to a point, but I can't just like turn around and be like, hey, stop that. People aren't going to listen. I have to accept that this is happening. Accept that there are parts of this that I'm not going to like. And there are parts of this that you're not going to like. And you are going to feel all of those uncomfortable feelings. You need to find where your control lies. What can you do? Because we all still have a say. I may not be in politics and have the power to enact systemic change, but I still have the power to speak up, to create a safe space for others, to try to ground you away from the panic and help you heal from that second arrow instead of just feeding the monster of avoidance. My power is in reminding people who feel isolated that they are not alone. You're not alone. And that is exactly what I'm doing. That's why I started this podcast. I wanted to build a community. So keep writing and calling your representatives. Don't back down. Don't grow numb to all the chaos that is being spewed. Every time somebody says breaking news, my mind glazes over because there's so much. And then I'm like, okay, wait. Let's ignore the breaking news. What's actually happening? Because breaking news headlines are meant to incite fear. And I say that not on the just one side. I mean, all sides of this political spectrum is being fed fear because fear gets viewership. Don't give in to it. Don't give in to the second arrow. Be curious, think critically, pay attention to what choices are being made and how they affect you. Because again, no matter which side you are on, you are American. And if you're not in America, you are watching this going, well, you're messing up the entire world. Why are you doing this? Different countries are pulling away from America so that they don't have to lean on us anymore. We've been a powerhouse for decades and we're changing that. And that is going to affect every single one of us. And I know I sparked something in here for a lot of you. I sparked it in myself. I'm going to stop talking about it. But I want you to know that I hear you. And I plan to spend more time on this in the future. Again, hint, hint, please stay tuned for my next episode in 2 weeks because it is relevant to present day. And I have had a lot of listeners, clients, friends, family ask me for more information and support around how to navigate this very real experience that we are facing right now. We'll get there. I hear you. I have not forgotten, I promise. But for now, let's focus back on this idea of acceptance. These examples that I gave were external, interacting with others, what's happening out in the world. But this topic that we are discussing today is not just about relationships or how you show up in this world. It is also about how you show up within yourself. There are pieces of us that we are ashamed of, whether we were told to hide those parts of us or over time, out of a desire to fit in, we just push away those parts of us, but we all have them. This can be considered the darkness in us. And if you listen to my last episode, we talked about this concept more there. So again, go back, listen to it if you want more on that. For example, there is a part of me, which I mentioned earlier, who wants to be stick thin or else. even though I was weak and lightheaded all of the time when I looked that way. And honestly, I get frustrated when she shows up. There is a part of me who is emotional and cries all the time, anytime I feel anything real. And often I feel ashamed that she's emoting. There is a part of me who is incredibly stubborn. She wants it the way she wants it, even though this might not match what others want. And the people pleaser in me, she fights this part constantly and wishes she didn't exist. These are all parts of myself that, one point or another, I have tried to push down and have struggled to accept. In the past, I may have even hated these parts of me. I'm telling you this because can you be curious about which parts of you you've been pushing away? The parts of you that you judge or hate or wish weren't a part of you? Because these parts of us, they need love too. The part of me trying to convince myself that starvation is the way is afraid of fitting in or being rejected or judged for how she looks. She is scared and tired and just wants to be loved. And how hurtful that I reject and judge her in the exact way she's trying to avoid. I don't want to do that. The part of me who feels too emotional and is empathetic and kind. Again, that emotion is empathy, it's kindness. And she can, without fail, connect to other people's experiences. Sometimes before she even connects to her own, because I've worked so hard to numb my personal emotions, just like most of us have. And that part of me, she deserves to feel her full range of human emotions and be seen and accepted in the pain. The stubborn me, she is strong-willed, determined, motivated, and a complete badass. She is the part of me that advocates for my needs, makes sure that I'm heard, and helps me be my true self. She isn't a bitch or stubborn or even a pain in the ass, though sometimes she can come on stronger than I'd like, I'll admit. But I am trying so hard on my healing journey to catch those snap judgments, those out of control reactions, and intentionally choose acceptance and curiosity so that those parts of me can feel seen and loved, and I can choose to show up differently. If you can understand those deeper needs, maybe those actual feelings and reactions, and accept your experience, whatever it is, maybe, just maybe, you can find the peace that is within your control and choose to act instead of just react. And okay, this is great in theory, but how the fuck do we actually do this? I'm going to be real with you. It is not easy. If it was easy, I'd just give you a tool. You'd feel better. But doing the emotional work is one of the hardest parts of human experience, especially in modern day when life is constantly throwing stuff at us. There's very little time to pause. And honestly, I spend a lot of my time convincing people to buy into this work and not just stay in that intellectual, but let me pull it apart and dissect it space. If you don't do this work, you can find yourself exploding out at loved ones when you don't want to, crying spontaneously. That's a big one for me. Getting trapped more and more often in spirals of existential dread and panic, and developing chronic pain. Again, that's one that I have because your body is trying to hold all of that disturbance and distress alone without your help. My best recommendation for you is to go to therapy, to find someone who you trust, who you can build a working relationship with, who can sit in that discomfort with you and teach you that you are safe, even when your nervous system is screaming at you that you're not. Because that screaming might be an old pattern, might be an old way of keeping you safe. This podcast cannot do that big, scary work for you. And as much as I'd love to have all the answers, every single person is different. And how that disturbance shows up in our bodies will be different for all of us. So you need someone who can witness that discomfort in real time and help you explore tools and help you slow down and accept your experience, whatever it looks like. For example, I found a therapist who could not only challenge me, but when I find a point in my past that hurts, she can pause with me and go, that seems like something. Before we move on or start thinking about it, let's just feel whatever is coming up. And we do. Therapy is hard because eventually you have to stop thinking about what you're feeling and actually feel it. Let the tears flow. Let the fear crop up. Let those scary, shameful thoughts that you've been running away from out so that you can look at it. And then you can go, wow, I can actually survive that. And then you take your tools that you've gathered on all your side quests and grab your adventure buddy, your therapist, and dive into that main quest like your life depends on it. Because it does. If you can access this, your life will improve. Not because the pain goes away, but because you can trust yourself to feel the pain and come out the other side. So now that I've named this very real and tangible way to go on this journey, I will also guide you via my own discomfort, you're welcome, through an exercise that could help you slow down in your panic, create some space to find curiosity in it, and decide intentionally what to do next. I will use an example from my own life and run you through 5 steps of this exercise. I built this in my therapy work. Other variations of it likely exist out there. I've named it the intentional tool. Before we run through these steps, I want to remind you that you need to be able to notice and recognize that you've been hit by that first arrow before you can do this. This could look like feeling panic, indecision, anger, worry, feelings of helplessness. But if you notice any of those internal reactions, that means it is time to pull out the intentional tool and try it. For today's example, I'm going to use a simple situation that triggers my anxiety, which is when someone is trying to make plans with me about something in the future, but then they try to bring up multiple plans at the same time. So for example, this year, we have 2 family trips, a wedding, I have a trauma conference, and my partner's going to join me after for it. It's all really good things. I'm excited about all of them. But when he tries to talk to me about the logistics for the conference while I'm trying to coordinate the family trips, and we still have to figure out what we're doing with this wedding, my anxiety starts to freak out. It feels like too much. And my second arrow, when it hits, often looks like, what's even the point? This is too much. We need to stop making plans. You know what? We should just have less family, less friends. Why do people want us to visit them so often? Why are we doing this? Can we just cut everyone out of our lives so that I don't have to figure out all these details all at once? Like, no, I'm done. No more friends and family. I'm out. So clearly, this is an out of proportion reaction. So before I can use the intentional tool, I need to notice that anxiety is spiking and decide to use the tool at all. So let's say I caught that anxiety before that second arrow hits, usually a tightness in my chest. Before the spiral of thoughts begin, I say, let's slow down, see what I need to do here. Step 1 is to pause for a moment. Go somewhere that feels safe. That might be stopping the conversation. Maybe I run to the bathroom for a moment so I can have some quiet time. Maybe I walk away for a bit. Or just asking my partner to stop talking so that I can check in with myself, because he's awesome and doesn't even question it. He's just like, yep, you want to do that? Go for it. So I feel safe doing that. Go wherever you feel safe. Step 2 is to regulate your nervous system for a minute. And this might be some breathing exercises. I've done 2 episodes on breathing and different exercises that you can do. The 2 that I want to mention today, the first is just drawing out your exhale. Do at least 3 rounds of it. Then inhale as deep as you can. And then let that exhale slowly seep out of you. Make it as long as you can. You do that multiple times until you feel better. Even if it's just like 1% better. The other breathing exercise you can do, similar, but on the inhale, you imagine that you're on the ground floor in an elevator. You take that elevator all the way to the top. And then on the exhale, you let the elevator take you all the way back down to the ground floor. I like this one because on that exhale, I almost sink a little bit extra, and it helps me release some tension that I've been holding because I've been anxious. And then the third piece that you can add to this, if you choose to, is you can add some tapping to it. So if those of you watching me in video, it might just look like your hands on your shoulders and you tap nice and slow, left and right, as you inhale and as you draw out that exhale. I already feel calmer doing that. I was all worked up from our conversation earlier. So once you feel a little bit calmer, your system knows you are safe. That's when you check in with your feelings. You might notice the emotions that are coming up for you. You might notice body sensations, like I mentioned, that tightness in my chest. Notice if it feels completely overwhelming or if it just is there. And notice what thoughts you are having around that feeling. Are you hit by that second arrow? Is it way too overwhelming? Or is it just, this is a lot, can we consolidate? Can we choose one option here? Once you've kind of checked in with your experience, again, letting it exist, then I want you to decide if you can move forward with it or if you need to take a step back. Now, in my example, talking to my partner about future plans we're excited about, I can move forward with that most of the time. Sometimes I'm way too overwhelmed. I've had a busy day, and the answer is no, I can't talk about this right now. Can we move on and talk about it tomorrow? And that's okay. It's okay if the answer is no, I can't do it right now. But if I can, then I give myself a pep talk. That's step 5. What's your pep talk? Can you talk yourself through the experience? And that might look like, for me, okay, anxiety, we're talking about 8 things at once. This is too much for you. You need one thing. So here's the thing. You can do that. I hear you. I'm going to advocate for you. I'm going to go back to my partner. I'm going to tell him that he needs to pick one thing to talk about, or we can't talk about it right now. Okay? I'm going to set that boundary. We're going to get through this. And if it gets too overwhelming, I'll stop. But for now, we've got this. We can talk about this. You've been preparing for this your whole life. You got it. Let's go. So see if you can notice when a reaction happens. See if you can find that safe space. See if you can let it exist. And see if in that pause, you can decide what is within your control and accept what's out of it. Hopefully something we talked about today resonated with you. If it did, let yourself sit with that idea for a little while longer. If you have any questions for this podcast or any themes you'd like us to focus on in the future, send us a message on Instagram at insightswithuspodcast or send us an email at insightswithus@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this podcast and you want to hear more, please follow, like, or subscribe. If you want to support the continuation of this podcast, you can donate. To do so, find me, Anastasia Soroka, on buymeacoffee.com. If you want to see my face and all of my crazy expressions while I record, or if you want a chance to sponsor an episode, you can find Insights with Us on Patreon. I hope to build exclusive content, including these videos. Yeah, it's going to be great. And so I appreciate you. I appreciate that you are listening. I'm laughing because I was dancing during that. So if you want to watch me dance, go for it. But anyway, I appreciate that you are here. I really do. I appreciate every single one of you. I hope you find some acceptance this week. Thank you for creating insight with us.